Have you ever wondered why some African nations, which are so rich in natural resources, are still struggling with poverty? In this explainer, we're diving into a really provocative idea. What if it's not about resources at all? What if the problem lies squarely with the leaders? And we're going to meet a new generation that's trying to flip that script entirely. So let's get right into it. Wow. Okay, that is a heavy statement, right? But if you think about it for a second, the logic is pretty powerful. Africa is the continent that is just overflowing with natural wealth. So when you see a country with crumbling roads and people who are struggling, you have to ask yourself, where is all that wealth actually going? According to this point of view, the answer is painfully simple. It's being stolen. And this just lays it all out, doesn't it? The contrast is just absurd. On one side, you have the leader's lifestyle. We're talking supercars, massive villas, all the luxury you can imagine. Then you look at the reality for the people. Bad roads, not enough food, schools in disrepair. It's more than just a disconnect, you know? It really feels like a slap in the face to the very people you're supposed to be serving. All right, so if corrupt leadership is the problem, then what's the solution? Well, that brings us to this man, Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. He's part of this whole new wave of leaders who are basically saying no more to the old way of doing things. They're trying to forge a totally new path for their countries, and his approach is as radical as it is simple. The first thing that just jumps out at you about Traoré, his age. The guy is just 37 years old. I mean, on a continent where many leaders are literally old enough to be his grandfather, that is a huge deal. It's a radical departure from the norm, and it sends this really powerful message that maybe the future of Africa belongs to the young. It's clear he's not interested in personal enrichment. He's focused on national progress. And this quote right here, it gives you a glimpse into the kind of leader he is. He doesn't see himself as some kind of ruler, but more as a public servant. He treats his soldiers with respect, not like they're beneath him, but as equals. This is a man who seems to understand that true leadership is about empowering people, not dominating them. Okay, so that's the philosophy, but how does that translate into action? Well, Traoré's first big priority wasn't building a new palace or buying a private jet. No, it was to build roads. It might not sound glamorous, but he clearly understands a fundamental truth. A country can't move forward if its own people can't move around. And he did not waste any time. He launched this massive national infrastructure project. And get this, he put the military to work building it. This is such a brilliant move. Instead of paying tons of money to foreign companies, they're using their own people and their own resources to do it themselves. I mean, that is what self-reliance looks like in action. So why are roads so important? Because they are the absolute lifeblood of an economy. They connect farmers to markets, businesses to customers, and people to opportunities. When you build a road, you're not just laying down asphalt. You are literally paving the way for a more prosperous future. And you know, Traoré isn't the first African leader to figure this out. He's following in the footsteps of a man who actually earned the nickname the bulldozer for his relentless focus on infrastructure, the late John Magufuli of Tanzania. Magufuli definitely earned that nickname. He earned it by completely transforming Tanzania's infrastructure. He understood that a country's roads are basically a reflection of its ambitions, and he was absolutely determined to build a road network that would put Tanzania on the path to prosperity. And to really get the scale of Magufuli's vision, let's just look at one of his most ambitious projects. For decades, the only way to cross a key part of Lake Victoria was by a slow, unreliable ferry. It was a massive bottleneck for trade, for travel, for everything. But Magufuli saw a different future. And the result was nothing short of revolutionary. The Kigongo-Busisi Bridge, the longest in East Africa, completely transformed the region. A journey that once took hours now just takes minutes. A trade route that was at the mercy of the weather is now open 24/7. This is what can happen when a leader has the courage to think big and the determination to actually make it happen. But Magufuli's vision went way beyond just infrastructure. He waged a war on corruption, slashing government spending and putting an end to the lavish lifestyles of public officials. He championed African solutions for African problems, and he inspired a whole new sense of national pride. He really showed the world that an African nation could stand on its own 2 feet. And this brings us right back to Captain Traoré, because he's not just building roads. He's building a new kind of army. By using his soldiers as engineers, he is sending a powerful message about the role of the military in a developing nation. This is a complete game changer. It transforms the army from simply a force of defense into a force of creation. And for the soldiers themselves, it gives them this incredible new sense of purpose. They're not just defending their country, they are actively building it with their own hands. So, what can we learn from all this? The source argues that the biggest obstacle to Africa's development isn't a lack of resources at all. It's a lack of leadership. It's a failure of imagination, a poverty of mentality, as they call it. It's selfishness, greed, and a betrayal of the public trust. So the question really is, how do you feel about this man and this style of leadership? Is this the future? Is this a model that can be replicated across the continent? And what does it say about the kind of leaders we should be looking for, not just in Africa, but all over the world? That's definitely something